to make allocations from the general fund to the other uses as we see fit. What we have done, for example, with the fee that Discover paid to us for establishing the police department is not to formally reserve the money, but to informally designate it for the police fund. It's not that it actually belongs to the police fund, but we've made a policy determination to designate it, and that's how we know every year in our annual audit to show the money is coming into the police fund. So as the board considers this, I bet if Erwin were here tonight, he would suggest that we extend this kind of informal policy of designating amounts. While it would be still within the general fund, we would have an idea of what we mean to do with the money, but still retain that flexibility at the board level, because you know, the water system may cost more for something than the sewer system, and we're not really, the funds that we've built up haven't really come from just one system.
Right, but and the key is to retain the flexibility so we don't get locked in from a legal allocation point of view, but to understand exactly what we're holding that money for. So it's not just money sitting there in a big pile of gold that is going to be mined and used for purposes that we don't intend.
So there should be an understanding as to what all the contingent liabilities
Right.
are.
I mean, we've got, what, 21 miles of water main, 27 miles of sewer pipe out there, which I was shocked to read those numbers. I had no idea we had that many miles in this little village of pipes.
Oh, yeah, a lot of pipe, a lot of money.
Yeah, it's like,
Does-
what,
does everyone
$40
see
million?
this
If that infrastructure had been
Should
put
we show
into a bondage, that would be a requirement.
Right, there'd be a requirement. But if we were to put it in today, it'd be a $40 million tab.
Appreciation.
Oh, yeah.
for-
You couldn't afford to do it.
We could not afford to do it today.
Yes, sir.
Just from a fire department perspective, to echo a little bit of what Patrick said, we try to keep our station staffed as much as possible, and in so doing, when we train a new engineer, a new operator of one of our pumps, we try to do it at the station. It shouldn't put a huge strain on the system. We track the water usage and report it back. Because there is a concern that just our training the engineers could be stressing the system, we've stopped doing that, and I certainly don't want to scare anyone. We don't know for sure that that's what would be causing it. But anytime there's been a fire, the pumper needs to fill up again. It'll go to a hydrant and fill off that hydrant. Training requires us to use a hydrant at times to teach the new engineers and to use water in the lines. So these are things that if we're not going to be able to replace the system in the near future, one of the suggestions my chief had is we might want to paint the bonnets a blue or the top of the hydrant a different color. And that way we could let Deerfield Bannockburn know and let our engineers know that's a hydrant to avoid unless there's an emergency. So this is a suggestion.
Pat? It's a good suggestion.
Yes, just bear in mind that we won't actually pay engineers, they'll actually do things. We come up with a plan to get it done.
Yes, sir. Okay, visitors wishing to address the board.
I just had a comment to make
Sure.
on that. As we look at the infrastructure, it would perhaps be helpful to keep good data records, and that may help us figure out whether, although the average life may be such and such, in reality, what is it and what are the cost benefits of pushing that a little beyond the average life, or whether we're going to save so much money by doing it
I
right on
guarantee you, we'll
schedule.
not replace everything when the expected
We
life.
had
Yes.
a very, very accurate accounting of every break, for example, in the mains and where it took place, et cetera. I don't know if we're still keeping that bill. Cheryl did. And I think the last count, she's still doing it. We can determine that rate.
That's very good.
Fixing a pipe break is a little
Okay.
more expensive.
Nobody
I
wants to say
understand.
anything.
Ridiculous.
Okay. First reading of an ordinance proposing to amend ordinance 02-1128, which established the Village of Riverwoods, Hiawatha Woods Special Service Area number 19, providing for public hearing and other procedures.
I'm suggesting a first reading of this tonight. Purpose of the ordinance is to set a date for a public hearing, which the ordinance suggests would be at the June 2nd board meeting. And at the public hearing, we would, send notices to all the residents in Hiawatha Woods who were part of the existing special service area. We publish before the meeting. And then at the hearing, we consider whether to change the purpose of the special service area. This is along the lines we've been discussing, to allow for snow removal. I added tree trimming and shoulder restoration as other options. And essentially, we would be amending the purposes for which the original special service area was established, broadening them somewhat. We wouldn't have to deal with the tax rate that's already authorized in the area. The tax rate is sufficient to generate about $22,000 a year at the maximum with the current assessed value in the special service area. So we're still way below that for snow removal. So basically, after the hearing is adjourned, then we wait for the residents to come in. Because this was a road SSA, we wait for them to come in with petitions in favor of the amendment, and when we have a requisite percentage, then the board would do a second ordinance adopting the ordinance amending the special service area.
Is there any reason why we shouldn't adopt it tonight?
Well, I didn't think the board had enough time to look at it. I have plenty of time, because if the board votes for a first reading tonight, I'll go ahead and have the publication ready, assuming that there'll be second reading and adoption at the
Motion for
next
first
meeting.
reading, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That would go on the next agenda, right? Okay, I had a call from,
Could I actually ask a couple of questions though? Do we need to specify how often these additional services will occur, or does Hiawatha take care of that on their end?
I was thinking that we would do that in the services agreement.
Okay. And then, in the notice of hearing section, I was wondering if we could also put maybe an additional sign up where our village sign is, kind of as a reminder when the meeting is, because even if people receive it in the mail, having a sign up might jog their memory. Yes, exactly.
Sure. Why not?
Certainly do that formally.
Sure.
But
anything else? Okay, I got a call from one of our residents, Stephanie Gordon, who lives on Robinwood Lane, who is a teacher at Deerfield High School. She says we have a summer employment grant. Coincidentally, Mr. Masterson had sent me a note, I think the day before, suggesting we get a couple of kids from Deerfield High School to do some
Painting at his house?
It seems like it's about time.
Do we get those fire hydrant bodies?
No, we want the engineers to do that.
She sent me out an employment grant, so it will not cost the village anything. This will be the children. The students will be paid by Lake County grant. We have a 12 grant, and we can use the.
We have something for them to do though.
Well, that's the point I wanted. Chuck is going already.
If we have nothing for them to do.
We have 20 to 25 hours a week for 8 weeks.
For how many students?
2 students, starting June 22nd. They have to be in a safe environment.
They also have to be supervised, so you've got to have somebody
Right.
supervising.
well, for this grant, don't they have to be either economically disadvantaged or have an IEP?
Ooh.
No.
No, this is not an IEP.
Oh, good.
Well, this is the agreement. I think it's probably the agreement.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, this is what it says. Will provide job opportunities to enhance the future employability of economically disadvantaged youth, 14 to 24 years of age, and youth 14 to 24 years of age may qualify if they have an IEP.
It's a specific level of supervision that I don't know that we can provide to.
Okay.
I was talking to Linda about it, because Linda knows from what, Linda?
Yes.
What is the super?
It depends upon what the child's IEP says, and some of them can be very, very